long-term ketosis, a ketogenic diet, long-term. There are a lot of reasons why people will say you shouldn't do keto long-term. There are a lot of reasons that people will say you shouldn't do keto in general. There are a lot of reasons people say a lot of nonsense things. But let's peck through some of this. I've been doing a ketogenic diet for a little over 4 years now. I just realized this morning. Doesn't feel like that long, but I guess that could maybe be considered long-term. So let's talk about keto and the reasons not to do it long-term. The number one reason why I hear out there, the number one reason why people might give you a hard time for doing ketosis, while your family members might be freaked out when you tell them you're gonna eat a low carbohydrate, high fat diet, would be cholesterol, the cholesterol myth. Now, I want you to make up your own mind on the issue. I'm just gonna give you some little factoids on cholesterol and LDL. I would suggest doing some research on the demonization of cholesterol and the history of government collusion with industry in creating public policy to influence what we eat. Very, very interesting history. Lots of profits to be made. Lots of backroom shady stuff going on. Sugar industry paying off scientists to misrepresent and create fake science. It's all documented. It's all out there. It's all there for you to discover. So make up your own mind about this, but I'm going to give you some facts. Here's something that recently came out in a study that looked at people from all different types of populations on different types of diets from all over the world. And guess what they found associated with high cholesterol? High cholesterol was associated with less death from all causes. High cholesterol was associated with longevity. Low cholesterol was associated with more death by all causes. All-cause mortality rates increase across the board in elderly people with low cholesterol. You know what else happens when we suppress cholesterol, when we have low cholesterol? Brain atrophy, muscle atrophy, bone mineral density loss, depression, increased suicide, increased psychosis. All of these issues are associated with suppression of cholesterol and are side effects of some of the most profitable drugs that the pharmaceutical industry has ever patented and pushed on populations, and those are statins. So, this recent study that came out should be an eye-opener for a lot of people. I am of the opinion that we are more at risk of low cholesterol than we are from high cholesterol. People who do have heart attacks and coronary events, those with low cholesterol die more. Those with high cholesterol have much higher survival rates. Look at what cholesterol does. What is it required for? It's required to make vitamin D. You make vitamin D out of sulfated cholesterol when we sit in the sun like I'm doing right now. We need it for creating testosterone, for creating sex steroid hormones, which help us to feel good, to thrive, and have a sense of well-being. Cholesterol is very, very important. It's crucial for life. So the next reason that people give is muscle loss. Now this is patently false, and it's been shown in a lot of studies that ketogenic diet and ketones in general, even if you administer them exogenously, are muscle sparing. A ketogenic diet is muscle sparing. You cut down the carbohydrates, your body starts burning body fat or dietary fat. Those ketones are powerful signaling molecules. They signal your body not to burn muscle mass. And you can build muscle on keto. In fact, I built quite a bit of muscle on a ketogenic diet. I'm not a bodybuilder. My goal is not to be huge. But there was a point when I felt like I built a little too much muscle for my frame. And I wasn't massive or anything like that. I just had some past injuries in my hips and imbalances in my skeletal muscle, in my fascia system. It had been ingrained for a long time. And I actually ended up deciding that I needed to prune back some of that muscle mass because I didn't want... It was actually increasing the pain in my hips. So I gained so much muscle on keto that I had to chill out and prune back a little bit. Do kind of a frame-off restoration of my, my bones, my ligaments, my joints. So keto can build muscle. It's actually been shown in studies of an elite gymnast that performance and muscle building was not stunted by a ketogenic diet. And there was a recent study that was done by, I think it was Lowry, and this was disputed among many people, but this study showed that a ketogenic diet was more effective at building muscle than a standard American diet macro spread. Very, very interesting. So muscle loss is false. The next reason that people will give you shouldn't do keto, acidosis, ketoacidosis. Now, the reason people say this actually comes from truth. You know, most of these things stem from truth, like the perceived muscle loss. Some people believe that they're losing muscle in the beginning of keto because they feel a little flat. You got less glycogen stores. You're holding less water weight, and if you're not getting enough electrolytes in, your muscle bellies will not be full, and you will feel and look a little flatter. But this can be easily remedied by getting sufficient electrolytes and getting enough water retention and finding that balance in your body. All right, so acidosis. Ketoacidosis is something that happens in type 1 diabetics who got runaway blood glucose production and runaway ketone production without insulin to balance out the equation. This does not happen even in type 2 diabetics, although of course you want to measure your blood ketones and blood glucose if you're a diabetic. But normal people, acidosis, not an issue. In fact, they did a study, a 5-year-long study on long-term ketogenic diet adherence. They found that after 5 years, there was no negative metabolic effects. There was no bone mineral loss, which was one of the claims of, a lot of the vegans will say, well, if you eat meat and animal products, they're acidic. They're acid. They'll leach minerals, they'll leach calcium from your bones because you need that to process the protein and all this stuff. This has been proven false. High protein diets are shown, and keto is not high protein, by the way, but even high protein diets have been shown not to negatively impact renal function or bone mineral density. In fact, protein is required for bone mineral density, and a ketogenic diet, if it's done right, with proper micronutrients, with proper fat-soluble vitamins in a well-balanced way, is going to improve your bone mineral density because you're going to be getting plenty of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin E, vitamin D, vitamin K2, which is very difficult to get from plant-based foods. Also vitamin A from foods like liver. Very, very important for health in general, and very good for maintaining bone mineral density. As long as you're getting enough magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, you're going to be good. All right, let's see. Kidney stones. There's another myth. You're going to get kidney stones. This is not true unless you're dehydrated or have a proclivity towards kidney stones or already have renal issues. Any diet can give you kidney stones. A ketogenic diet does not cause kidney stones in people. So those are most of the... Oh, let's get one more. The last one. Gut microbiome. Now, this one is actually really interesting to me. This is one of the reasons why I was interested in ketosis. I wanted to decrease the inflammation in my body so that I could heal from some chronic injuries that I had acquired over the years of poor use and abuse of this twisted, withered vessel of mine. So I wanted to use keto to improve my digestion. I had digestive issues as a kid and stuff. And it has helped my gut issues immensely. Of course, there's many other things that will affect gut health. Stress, lack of sleep, and poor movement patterns can be just as important as diet for me. But the gut microbiome has actually been studied in relation to a ketogenic diet in MS patients. They found that people with multiple sclerosis using a ketogenic diet as an adjunct therapy with great success, they found that in the beginning of implementing keto, for those first few weeks, the gut microbial diversity, the diversity of the gut microbiome, it's a mouthful, decreased. So it was there was a pruning back effect due to keto. But after about 12 weeks, the microbial diversity began to increase again. And after about 24 weeks, their gut microbiomes were flourishing and were more diverse and had more biomass, more microbial mass than when they had started the diet. So, ketogenic diet, shown right here to be really effective for gut health. We all know that gut health is intimately connected with mental health, with cognitive health, with your general levels of inflammation throughout the body, and ketosis has been shown to be really beneficial. In fact, there was a study done recently, or I think it was a small case study, showing that ketosis, a ketogenic diet, was more effective than antipsychotic meds. More effective for bipolar than antipsychotics. Now, what a surprise. These antipsychotics that make you feel dead inside are less effective than a ketogenic diet that actually allows you to take control of your diet, of your habits, and empower yourself through learning how to treat this vessel with respect. What a surprise. So, the gut thing, not really an issue either. Now here are some reasons why you might not, here's some reasons that I think are justified for people not wanting to do ketosis long term. Number one would be performance and high-level athletes. And now some people might take offense to this because it's really trendy right now to promote keto for athletes. But I will be the first to say that a ketotic state is not the best state for high energy output athletes to be in all the time. People like MMA fighters, NFL football players who are taking major injuries to their body, to their spine, and getting traumatic brain injury frequently. Even soccer players, football rather, real football. These people too are getting lots of injuries and have traumatic brain injuries. A lot of us don't even know it. You can get a TBI just through an impact to your hip, which I had when I was 20 years old. And it still affects me today. So these individuals who may experience cognitive decline younger due to their activities as athletes, like MMA fighters, could definitely benefit from ketosis. But their performance probably is not going to benefit while they're in ketosis. Now here's how you can find a nice balance. Getting adapted when you're not competing, getting fat adapted so you can efficiently have the mitochondrial machinery, so you can generate that mitochondrial density to actually use fatty acids more frequently and then tap into glycogen only when you need to. That is a much better strategy for these high-level athletes. So more of a, not really a cyclical approach, but a targeted keto approach where you're using carbohydrates in context or using ketogenic diets seasonally, cyclically like we would have done in nature, might be a better idea for these athletes. Another reason why people might not want to do keto long term would just be basic metabolic flexibility. You know, and there's been, alright, let me just give you one example. 4 years on a ketogenic diet. During the first 6 months of keto, if I got off of ketosis, which I don't think happened intentionally for like the first year, or maybe after about a year I started experimenting a little bit with carb refeeds and stuff like that. I don't remember the exact timeline, but in the beginning, it didn't feel that good to include more carbohydrates on my diet. But as I got better adapted to the pathway, as my body got better at burning fat, I got much better at switching back and forth between fuel sources. When I eat carbs now, I don't feel a lack of the benefits of ketosis. It's almost like the groundwork has been laid and the metabolic machinery is there to burn both glucose and fat as needed. And it allows my body a lot of flexibility. I can eat carbs, but then go long periods of time without food, get right back into ketosis, and not feel a blip on my metabolic radar, and I feel awesome the whole time. So, getting that metabolic flexibility can be great. I don't think it's required to intake more carbohydrates occasionally to keep metabolic flexibility. I think it's a good idea for some people, but you got to experiment for yourself. I think ketosis is a powerful tool when used in context. It's not the way, the truth, and the light. There's many other ways to eat. There's many other ways that I could eat and be healthy and happy. But ketosis is my preferred dietary pathway. I use it because it improves my cognitive function, it improves my sense of well-being, and I just love keto foods. Like, I love salty, fatty foods. That's what I'm into. I dig it. So, reasons why you might want to stay keto long term. First of all, if you got a bunch of fat to lose, no reason to hop off the wagon. No reason to include more carbohydrates, even occasionally, if you got 100, 200 pounds to lose. Ketosis is one of the most powerful fat loss tools available. Leverage it, use it. If you've got traumatic brain injury, I would definitely do ketosis long term. No questions about it. People are doing it for epilepsy, neurological issues, for decreased inflammation, for healing old injuries, for cognitive function in general. I think ketosis long term, perfectly safe, perfectly fine. But I will say this. If you've been doing keto long term, you don't have to lock yourself into the dogma of, I must do keto in order to feel good. You might feel just as good on a low carbohydrate, high fat diet that's not keto. You might feel just as good including seasonal carbohydrates occasionally. Experiment with it. This is life. Just because one tool can open up doorways for us, just because something like intermittent fasting, or fasting in general, or ketosis, can bring really good benefits, doesn't mean we have to smother ourselves in it and bathe in the waters of keto every day for the rest of our life. All right? Now, I'm not saying don't do keto long term, but I'm saying don't lock yourself in it. Don't turn it into a religion or a dogma. Enjoy it as a tool, use it in context, and experiment in your own life. It's about what works. It's about living. It's not about, oh, I eat this diet, or I've been doing this diet longer than everybody else, or, you know, I'm superior because I've been doing keto for this long or that long. Who cares about all that? Doesn't matter. Who cares what this person says, what that person says? It's about what works for you. It's not about what I prefer. It's not about my opinions, my dogma. It's about what works in your life and what allows you to thrive, to flourish, and to enjoy the blessing that you've been given, that you experience through that vessel. So, ketogenic diet can improve and increase mitochondrial glutathione, can improve memory in older adults, can improve symptoms of cognitive decline in type 1 diabetics. And you can get a lot of these benefits without even doing a ketogenic diet. You can increase your blood ketones through just ingesting more coconut oil and MCT and lowering the carbohydrate load a little bit. You don't have to go full on ketogenic diet to start feeling some of the benefits here. So, keep it in context. It's all about context, and it's all about what works for you. So if you want to do a ketogenic diet, if you're just starting it right now, or if you've been doing keto long term already, check out my wife's cookbook, the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. Jessica worked for super long on this book, and we're stoked to finally have it out and ready for the masses. So we made this book for people like us. We made it to be, we call it a training manual, because we wanted it to essentially be the book that we would have wanted before we started keto, so that we would know how to prepare nutrient-dense, whole foods-based keto recipes in our own kitchen. Because if you want to do this long-term, if you want to make long-term lasting changes in your life through diet, you've got to become self-sufficient in the kitchen and learn our way around your keto kitchen. So this book is designed to give you all the tools you need to learn how to prepare nutrient-dense, whole foods-based keto recipes. There's an entire section teaching you how and why to use organ meats, the most prized parts of the animal in nature that are often neglected, taboo, or people think, ew, it's so gross. We show you how to use these foods and make things like liver that you would have once thought was gross, how to make it delicious. Our daughter and our son love liver. They love foods like bone broth. Kids thrive on high-quality, nutrient-dense, healthy, fat-based keto foods. Of course, we don't feed our kids a full ketogenic diet, but they eat all our keto foods, plus more fruits, vegetables, and starches and stuff like that. So, check out the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, a training manual for low-carbohydrate, ketogenic, and paleo cuisine. I almost butchered the name there, but I got it. That's available exclusively at primaledgehealth.com. You ain't gonna find it on Amazon. You're not gonna find it anywhere else. Available exclusively on our website, primaledgehealth.com. So check it out. Ketogenic diet long term, perfectly safe. I've been doing it over 4 years now with nothing but awesome benefits. Of course, I use it as a tool, and I keep it in context, just like carbohydrates. They all these tools have their function when in their proper context. I'll see you guys next time. You can find more at primaledgehealth.com. Get off the computer, go get outside, get some fresh air, some vitamin D, go do something meaningful with your time. Bye, guys.